Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pillars of
Not
Eternity.
a problem.
So, I guess a small word of warning, maybe, possibly. I did start a second playthrough just privately, I guess, to get some idea of, what's coming next, to know if I want to continue the Let's Play. And nothing went wrong. It was fine. It was fun. I enjoy the game. It just means that some of the stuff that will be coming up next might not be so surprising to me. So perhaps don't expect the next 2 or 3 hours or so to be completely blind in terms of my playthrough. I've also just sort of as a side note realized that in the tutorial I kind of ended up having to make that choice between resting to make sure that one guy could sort of recuperate, and pressing on, which would have made the woman something happy. Now you can make it so when the guy got injured in this playthrough, in the Let's Play, if you pick different conversation options with those, I don't know, barbarian guys, whatever, the ones that injured him, it can be so that he doesn't get injured. And that means that you don't have to make that choice. He will still, be fine, or, well, he won't need, the rest to survive, essentially. But it doesn't make any difference whatsoever after the tutorial ends and you go out and get that cutscene with the mystic dude. Yeah, they're still both dead, so there's no change there. You can't get them permanently as party members. And now I have played far enough to know roughly where some of the upcoming party members are. So this, for example. I'm not going to read these things out, but if you feel like reading it, I will always leave enough pause so you can read it.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
Okay, everyone calm down.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Fie, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
Keep in mind the rather deliberate nature of the language here.
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think attacking him is such a good idea. So I get plenty of options here. I'm going to go for the intellect one. On my other character, I think perception wasn't an option, but this still seems like the most reasonable thing to say. Because he's clearly itching for a fight, and so, yeah, probably best to keep their distance. So it was an elf, apparently.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
Glad I could help.
Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts, though your accent suggests that you are no more local than I. Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvisor, at your service.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I am grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did you come to be here?
Sure.
In Gwithan Ruins? Oh, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Apparently a Beerwak. Beerwak? They pronounce it differently, but don't... I don't remember exactly. So yeah, that mystic storm thing that we ran away from into the ruins.
And you survived? I've heard such a thing was impossible. But it seems you either have a knack for timing or the favor of the gods.
Okay, so how did you get these drunks across?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
Yeah, you did tell him to fuck his sister. Although I will phrase it slightly more eloquently. Yeah, See, if I tell him that I heard the same thing, I will just do it. So it's fairly clear that he knew exactly what he was saying.
I'm afraid that was a matter of...
Okay, what are you doing here?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale. Indeed. The local lord has searched far and wide for similar specialists. He has rid himself of them almost as desperately. Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
So I just realized it's probably best if I always say or paraphrase the dialogue choice I make, so that it's a little easier to follow. I'm not going to read out the voice acting or non-voice acting part of the conversation partners, but I will read out or paraphrase what I say. Right, I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
How
may I help?
So we now have a wizard in our party as well.
Just
so
say the word.
We could talk to him at any point by clicking this button, but I've noticed that eventually when there's something interesting to say, like maybe something happened in a dungeon that's relevant to them, they will get a small icon over their portrait saying they want to talk to you. And outside of that, it doesn't seem to be that interesting to converse with them. And so his first level wizard spells are a dazzling light spell, which decreases will and leave enemies dazed. There's a fan of flames, which is sort of AoE like this. The red area, everyone gets hit. In the yellow area, so if I quickly cancel this and move back a bit. No, that's still too close. Back a little further. So the characters in the yellow area will only be hit if they're enemies. So as you can see here, I would not hit my own party members at this distance. I still find it a bit difficult to use these guys, because this ability, because my wizards tend to be at the back of the party. But that's something to keep in mind for all of these AoE abilities. There's that inner circle where it hits everyone, and the outer circle where it only hits enemies. For some abilities, will only affect enemies, and there might be some that will only affect allies, stuff like that. But anyway, this is just a fire damage spell. Then we have a freeze damage to a single target. I think that's purely single target. And decreases accuracy. And a sort of random triple magic missile thing that just does crush or corrode damage. I don't know what the crush/corrode damage thing means. If it's random which one it does, or like it depends on... Ah, okay. Ha! See, it says it right here. It always does the type of damage that the target is most vulnerable to. So that's good. That's useful.
Yeah?
I also want to check...
I'm on it.
Something. Because I'm not sure if I fully explored the... Ah, yes, now. Let me talk to this guy.
Were you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Okay, strange way to talk about your dead. I'm looking for someone who can help me feel better. Okay.
Just say the word.
Now, he will be important later. Well, probably this episode still. Let's move into fast forward mode. And go to the inn, because I believe something will happen when I go to sleep at the inn.
Hello.
I would like a room. So, from what I can tell, all inns, or at least the sleeping places I've encountered so far, have a free common room kind of thing, which doesn't cost anything, but it also doesn't give you any particular bonuses. And then you can pay some money to get bonuses. So in this case, 110 copper would give me a perception and mechanics bonus, and 150 a resolve bonus. Another thing we can do is recruit adventurers. These are generic new party members which we can just create, basically. And we can, just like I created my own character, I can just create a completely new character. I get to pick their race, gender, class, talents, everything. And then they will just join the party. It has a one-time cost, but no like running cost, so I don't have to pay wages for them or anything. Not going to do that, however, because I think we will get enough party members to fill the party with everything, with a sort of nice balanced setup, I guess. Although in my private playthrough I played as a mage with a different... I went for that godlike class race, and it turns out that the ones that looked really bad are like a certain type of them, the death godlike, and there's also moon and fire ones, and I think one other that I'm forgetting, nature maybe, whatever. And the moon ones look quite cool, so I went with that. So maybe some stuff will change based on that, but we get more party members, so I don't think I'll need to do this. However, what I definitely want to do is Bronze Pledge. How did I even get this? And do I have anything in my stash? I do. Lots of things I can sell. Not for much, but no, since there's no other purpose. Might as well. I am keeping all of the ingredients because I think some of them will come in handy at some point. A warbow. I probably want to keep. Oh, right. Since last time I got the DLC for the game. So I'm guessing that's DLC items. Because I don't think I got the warbow. And I also have a giant miniature space piglet, which I'm fairly sure is a DLC thing. Scale armor. I don't think I want anything heavier than what I've got, so I can sell that. Battle axe can go. And I'll keep the rest. And yeah, now I'm just going to sleep in the common room. I guess I'll read this out. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken, and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face has shriveled inward like a mouldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. And so we got some experience there. Also some random stuff here. I don't think it's particularly valuable, but if it's this icon and not the different one, which I believe we saw last time, it's not going to be considered stealing. So see this? If I take something from here, that will be stealing. Anyway, we want to see the dwarf woman, so I'm going to progress the story a little bit before we go dungeon. And I think it'll become clear why. But yeah, we want to see that tree and make sure the woman is truly dead. And that's her right there. Caldara de Beranzi. I'm not going to read this out anymore, but yeah, again, plenty of time to pause.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy, even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I, wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
Okay. I need to understand something that's happened to me.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times.
When you weren't dead?
Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
So remember that many NPCs, when I approached them, I got sort of a weird sound effect, and I couldn't talk to them. There was just this option of reach to their soul or step back. And I thought that what I was seeing was sort of past events in that person's life. And that's only true to an extent. Apparently what I'm seeing are sort of past events, possibly in previous incarnations of that soul. So this is like a world where kind of in a sort of Buddhist way, when you die you get reborn as something else, and I think I might have what I would have seen would have been previous incarnations, not necessarily something that happened in the past of that person, but like that soul had been a different person before, and possibly I saw events from those previous lives, I think. What did you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties. You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
I think I survived a bivouac. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
Okay, so let's just ask her about herself to kind of exhaust her dialogue.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
What happened to you?
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
Okay, so what's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other. Turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
Okay. We've gone through everything except for who are you, which isn't very interesting, so farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
And I was granted Crucible of the Soul. Apparently I'm a watcher. Okay. Do you know anything about watchers? Alright, let's continue on. Now I got to level up, but I'm going to talk... Actually, no, I'm going to do the level up first. I'm now a level 3 ranger. I do want more survival. And I think stealth, mechanics, and I'll keep the remaining points for the next level. Ranger abilities. Swift aim, attack speed, renounce. So I think I wanted yeah, let's go for Predator Sense. This gives me a damage boost against enemies affected by damage over time. And that's it.
Just say the word.
Now, the Crucible of the Soul is this thing here, which does burn damage to enemies in a 1.55 meter radius around me. Or around an enemy, actually, I think. Whatever. I do burn damage, and I get the damage I do back as endurance. Endurance was that sort of short-term HP on a per-fight basis kind of thing. So it's not health, but endurance, which is still nice because it's sort of a heal for in the fight.
Just say the word.
Now we can talk to this guy again.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the Dwarf Woman.
I'm sorry?
The Dwarf Woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway. Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
Okay. What makes you think I was interested in the Dwarf Woman?
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible. I don't drool half as much. Okay, anyway, do you know what a Watcher is?
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
None taken.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war?
We blew him up.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, I forgot. What's a Durwooden hello? Anyway, they blew him up. Who is Eothas? Okay, I've got other questions. Why was your headman hanged? Okay, what does your town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea.
So this game is also quite annoying with like which bits of dialogue are voice acted and which aren't. I think the only benefit it has over Octopath is that it's less dialogue heavy, and what dialogue there is significantly better written. So it's still annoying, but it's not as tedious because you don't have the like incredibly twee childish talking about murderous prostitute kind of dialogue, which is just, it wasn't great.
Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, and then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
Who's Kolsk? Okay. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Okay, we could travel together. I am headed to a place called Kednur. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree. All right then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being our party, I would like to quickly change the formation up. He's a fighter, so I want him in the front line. I'll be there behind my animal, and we'll just do this.
Leave it to me.
17 and a half.
And
Hey.
He currently has second chance. Once per rest. When he goes unconscious, he's revived with 30 endurance, which is from his Saint's war armor. So basically, when he goes down in combat once per rest, so I have to reset this by resting, he comes back and is sort of able to fight a little longer, I guess. And he has a knockdown ability, which, knocks an enemy prone and does bonus damage. Now, I do want to do a little bit of fighting still, and I think I want to do it this episode. Because I think I might not have fully explored the previous area, the Valewood. So I'm just going to go there quickly. So if we look at the map, there's an area here to the right that I haven't explored yet, which has some stuff in it. And I believe with the party being what it is currently, I should be able to finish exploring that. So we've got an outlaw.
Yeah.
Not very dangerous, of course, but we get some stuff from them.
I'm on it.
Okay, so here we have some outlaws to deal with. I actually did this by myself with the wizard, but it wasn't an easy fight. I almost died. So instead, I think I want to split up my melee characters to go for these guys. And then my ranged characters will do some support. So go for the bandit, and I myself will also go for the bandit. Okay, now he's badly injured, so that's good. Okay, and we will focus on the outlaw. while I have my fighter go deal with the archer.
Just say.
Okay, he's near death.
I'm on it.
Nice, we're done. And we get to take a lot of stuff, of course, and we can talk to this Tenfrith guy.
Hail, traveler.
Okay, so he was the cook in the inn in Guild Vale. So now I have earned a reputation. And of course, a bunch of loot. There's one more thing we can do. There's a young wolf here. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. So the mage has obviously got his spells which are on a per rest basis. So to recharge his first level spells, I need to rest, so he gets his currently 3 charges back. But there's also Arcane Assault, which is per encounter. So I don't have to ever worry about using these, I can basically just use them up.
Just say the word. You're mine!
Yeah, there's no reason to save those up.
Not a problem.
For the next fight, they'll basically be fully restored anyway. Oh, and we have a level up for Outlaw. So he's a lore guy, because he's a mage, that makes sense. I will also give him a little bit of mechanics. And I guess survival is always nice. And now we can get some new spells. Specifically, I can go for either level 1 or level 2 spells now, because he's level 3, so he now gets access to the level 2 spells. But I could still use those remaining 2 spells to get more level 1 spells if I found those more useful. But I do want Binding Web, that seems very handy. It makes enemies be stuck for almost 4 seconds. And I think the duration will increase with some of my stats, possibly. And the Necrotical Lance was also fairly nice. It's just a nice single target corrode damage spell that also then does some damage over time. And keep in mind that my main character has a skill where she now does 50% more damage to enemies that are suffering from damage over time. And so I think this corrode damage over time would count for that. And that's the level up done.
Just say the word.
And now we can try and climb up this wall. I have a grappling hook, but I think I want to scale the wall and ask Adair to climb up. And he has significant athletics, so he's able to basically go up there without wasting a consumable, which would have gotten everyone up there, anyone.
Yeah.
And so now we can go and loot this corpse, which has Fulvano's gloves on it. And then we have some other random stuff, but nothing.
Leave it to me.
Nothing important. And now we just climb down. The gloves of Dexterity, which now I guess got put into the stash. Those will go into my main character, because Dexterity is useful for a bow user. I think I also want to switch to the warbow. And might as well equip this ring, giving me plus 15 endurance twice per rest. It's fine. And I can equip the Ghostly Pig, just because it doesn't really serve a purpose, it just looks... Yeah, we now have this Ghostly Pig.
Just say the word.
There are pets in the game, that's all they are though. And I think I should now also possibly be able to deal with the bear.
I shall be discreet.
Okay. Now, ideally, I want to open the web thing to make the enemy be stuck.
How may I help? Aztec were that drop!
And now everyone can attack. He's still stuck for like a little bit. Do the damage over time thing, and you can now do the necrotic lance thing.
Lavaru, be on seek!
And I can also try and knock him down with
Got
my
stuck over
fighter.
here.
That's how it's
That didn't really do much, but that's fine. Hit the bear. Try another knockdown. And I can do my second wounding shot.
done.
Lavaru, be on seek!
There we go. And that's the bear down. Now there's also some cave coral.
Leave it to me.
And a bunch of skulls with mice crawling through them, apparently. And this is something that happens quite often. Because we're now a watcher, we're able to see like past lives and stuff. So we can, for example, in this case, see what happened to this guy as he before he dies. So we'll reach out to that. So he was betrayed by his friend, so it's like he told us that he barely got away, but actually he just kind of made sure that his friend was slower than him, so he could get away from the bear. And yeah, we'll promise that we will avenge him.
Just say the word.
And then here we also have a greatsword in HS. And I think that's basically it. The
Leave it
corpse
to
isn't
me.
lootable. Alright, so I'm just gonna make my way back to town and rest, and then we'll make our way to the castle.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Yeah. Takes a little while for them to cross the map, even in fast mode. And as I said, we want to go to Kednua, but yeah, it's definitely been long enough for this episode. So I'm just going to go and sell some of the stuff I found. And that's basically all I'll do, and next time we'll head out and make our way to that castle. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.